Hello everybody, it is the start to a new reading vlog for another readathon. It's the first week of the Owls readathon and I am very late in starting this vlog. In fact, my TBR video was super late in going up as well. The readathon started on the 1st and today's the 4th. In fact, it's really late on the 4th. It's like 10 o'clock, 10:30 at this point. My TBR video went up not that long ago. I also edited it today. With everything that's been going on, I've had no motivation to do anything. I have a list of things to do, absolutely. I'm working from home, which I'm doing, thankfully. I have so much cleaning to do, at least I should do. I want to start reorganizing some things. I actually bought a couple of things online today to help facilitate that. And I'm trying to think what else. Oh, I've been wanting to start TikTok. I have all these ideas to start doing TikTok. Haven't followed through on any of them. Haven't read at all really either. I've started 2 books, thankfully. But it's like all these ideas, I just haven't followed through on anything. And I don't know if it's because I'm overwhelmed or super anxious. My TBR has changed. I said in my TBR video for the prompt, I'm trying to think what it was. It's for transfiguration, like something that, at least I think it's for transfiguration. It's something like a book that features like shifting, like shape shifting in a way. And I was going to do Grim Lovelies, but I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. Before the readathon, I actually started on House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. I keep calling this Crescent City, and I think it's because of how the cover is. Crescent City is in this giant letters, and the actual title is like this like tiny little font here. The design doesn't make sense to me whatsoever, but I digress. I started this before the readathon, and I assumed I'd finish it before the readathon started, and that is not the case. I started it maybe 4 or 5 days before. I only made it this far into the book, about 100 pages in this massive book, and I would still like to continue this. So I think I'm going to use this book for that prompt because we do have some shape shifting happening in this book. Overall story is our main character is kind of this party girl, and she works for like this curator, and her friend, her very close friend, actually is part of this like werewolf pack where they kind of like police the town. And one of the nights when the main character goes out, her friend gets killed and her pack gets killed. And I'm pretty much just over that hump now. That all happened within 100 pages. It took me forever to get really into this book because I wasn't quite sure what I was meant to be imagining. We have all these different characters, like different types of creatures. We have fairies, we have vampires, we have werewolves, and we have angels. The way that Sarah J. Maas was describing the world, like there's emails, there's cell phones, and like, so is this fantasy or not? And they kept calling like the planet or the place where we are like Midgard. I'm like, so is this Earth or not? Finally, at page 48, she gives this throwaway line of, oh, one day, back in the day, a portal opened and all these creatures actually went into this realm. I'm like, okay, so this is supposed to be Earth that has changed over the years. Okay, I got this now. Don't know why it took almost 50 pages for me to see that, but we got that. I'm not far enough in it to actually have an idea of whether or not I'm going to like this. I feel like I'm going to give it another 100 pages or so, and maybe I'll have a better grasp if I'm enjoying this. I haven't liked any of Sarah J. Maas's books, but those have been YA, and I'm kind of hoping because this is an adult book, maybe the writing style is slightly different. Maybe I'll enjoy this one more. And the other book I started for this readathon, The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. This is not what I had imagined whatsoever. So the story flips between this book called Sweet Sorrows and our main character, Zachary. The book Sweet Sorrows has 3 stories in the book. One about a pirate who's about to be put to death, and that pirate gives a story about this like secret organization of secret librarians. And then it moves on to that librarian talking about a story about a boy at a secret door, and that boy turns out to be Zachary, and now Zachary is reading this book that has him in it. And Zachary's in college trying to get, I guess, his master's. He's in like upper level like college. He's not an undergrad. And he's waiting for the winter semester to start because there's snow on the ground, and he finds this book in the library, and now he's kind of like very curious about it. And that's all I've really gotten into so far. I'm trying to think. About 50 pages, not very far into this book whatsoever. I've been listening to this strictly as an audiobook, and I've only been able to listen to it on the way to work on Thursday, which was April 2nd, basically the second day of this readathon. I listened to it while I was going into work, like on the train and through my walk. And then I listened to it the majority of my shift, and then I kind of like just stopped listening to it. But that's all I have for you. This is kind of a messy intro. I just have had no real motivation to do anything. I have a whole list of things to do, and now that I've started this vlog, I'm kind of hoping that I find the motivation to really stay on top of the things that I want to do. Well, hello. So it has been ages and ages since I last checked in. It is the 11th. It is the day before Easter. And I've been the absolute worst in vlogging for this readathon. I don't know how else to describe other than I'm either very overwhelmed or so anxious that I am not finding joy in everything and anything. Like, I have no interest in doing anything. Like, I haven't really read. I don't want to edit videos. I don't even want to watch movies. Like, I find myself scrolling through the same 5 apps on my phone for hours on end. And that's basically what my first week was. And the second week, I've been forcing myself to do at least one good thing for myself. I think one day I just focused on, okay, let's just get some exercise and danced a little bit. When I'm at work, like working from home, making sure I watch webinars. One of the days I had off, I just cleaned my living room top to bottom, like really sanitized the place. Like, I dusted. Last time I dusted was like when I put up the Christmas stuff. I hate dusting. I know I'm disgusting, but I did that. I mopped the floors, swept the floors, like I Lysoled everything and anything. Just really sanitized the living room. And that took all day. And I actually felt like I really accomplished something that day, and that was really good for my mental health. Last night, I actually finally sat down and read for a couple hours, so I feel really good in doing that. And today's goal was to edit and post a video, which was my Animal Crossing personality book tag that actually just went live today. I went on a walk actually today. I finally left the house. For the last 4 weeks, I was only leaving the house to go to work and come home. But today I needed to get out of the house. So I went on a walk. I waited until like 30 minutes before dusk to go on this walk. And I only saw like 2 or 3 other families also going on walks. So I think if I'm going to go on a walk, I either need to do it first thing in the morning or at night. I think it's probably going to be better for my mental health if I do this walk first thing in the morning. Because as soon as I went on that walk today, like, I felt great. I felt fine. Like, I felt like my normal self. I am, without a doubt, ready for the world to go back to normal. I'm trying to see. So I've been listening to The Starless Sea on audiobook, and I've been listening to that on my long-ass commute to work and my long-ass commute home, and listening to it a little bit at the job. If you're new here, I have 2 jobs. One is at a public library, which unfortunately that library is closed, and I get to work from home. There's projects I can do from home. But the other library, the corporate library that I work for, because it's in a transportation company, it's been deemed essential, which means I still have to go into work. My commute is horrendous. I go from, before I would go train, subway, train, and it'd be like a 2.5 hour to 3 hour commute one way. Now, train, subway, bus, and a little bit of a longer walk, because that second train, they took away the stop because it wasn't a very popular one. They've reduced the schedule to a holiday schedule, and then with this holiday schedule, it doesn't have that stop. So before, in order to get to work for 9, I would leave the house at like 6:30-ish. Now I have to leave the house at 5:30-ish. Now that everything has been so bad, I've actually been debating about finally using my sick time. I have sick time accrued, but I didn't want to use it just in case I actually got sick. But maybe it's for the best that I just stop going to work, at least for a little while. I want to think more about it, but we're going to see how things unfold. This corporate library, we do conferences, and we actually have an event in October. And due to the coronavirus, they felt it was necessary to cancel that event. And I'm like, I swear to God, if things are still on its head in October, I don't know how I'm making it. Anyways, dramatics aside, I have been listening to The Starless Sea, and I think this book is incredibly dry. I'll be very honest, when I first read The Night Circus, I read it as a regular book, like with my eyes, with my eyeballs, and not as an audiobook. And I think I was able to use my own like inflections and my own like way of interpreting the text to really enjoy it. But listening to this guy talk, he just has a very dry cadence and very slow. I don't know how else to describe it. It's very calm and very melodical, if that's the word I'm looking for. It has this very nice melody, but the story itself is also slow and kind of boring at this point. Where I am here, Zachary had found the book. He sees himself in this book, and it flips between Zachary trying to investigate this book and flipping to the actual story in the book. While Zachary is investigating, he sees that he should go to this party in New York. He goes to college in Vermont, finds out about this party with there's like a bee on the book, and he was able to like reverse search that bee. And this bee sort of pendant or this icon or whatever you want to call it is associated at this party. If I'm remembering this correctly, it has been a little while. So he goes from Vermont to New York for this party. At this party, he comes across this guy. What's his name? What's this fellow's name? Dorian. He comes across this guy named Dorian, and Dorian tells him, "Hey, I have the book. Somebody slipped it from you while you're at this party, and I'll give this book back to you if you steal another book for me at this location. These people at this location actually have been tailing you this entire time, and they want this book as well. This mission's a little dangerous, but I need you to do it." And Zachary does it. And he does it with the expectation that he's going to get more of an explanation of what's happening. Steals the book. He gets caught in the process, but he escapes. And him and Dorian finds this door in Central Park. Going up to this door, Dorian hears like stuff behind them. They're being chased, and Dorian pushes Zachary through this door, and the door closes between them. And now Zachary is stuck in this door. And it looks like this sort of cavern place. And that's where I left off. Nothing has been explained other than there's this other world that Zachary is somehow entwined in. I kind of wish there was more breadcrumbs a little bit, because things are slowly being explained to me. I just think the explanations are really far in between. Where am I exactly? Because I am listening to this. I don't even know what page number I'm on. Alright, so it looks like I'm about page 111, it looks like. Yeah. Another character was just introduced, Maribel, looks like. At least I'm assuming that's what her name is. She kept being hinted at throughout while I was reading the interaction between Dorian and Zachary. So I think the next person we're meeting is Maribel. I'm definitely intrigued by this mystery that seems to be happening. Like, I want to know what the deal is between one secret society wanting Zachary and the other. Because you can definitely tell Dorian is part of one group that's against this other group that's also tailing Zachary. So I want to know about these two groups. Like, who the hell are they and what's their beef? And last night, when I finally sat down to read some more of House of Earth and Blood, I have to remind myself to call it that. So I am about 200 pages in through this. Where we are here in this book, Bryce, in the beginning of the book, went through something really traumatic. She comes across her murdered friends, and it really messed her up. And 2 years later, we find out that who they thought did it actually didn't do it. And the angels who are in charge of the city want her to help with the investigation to see who actually did it, since she's the only one who's seen the demon or the creature or whatever it was that killed her friends. So now she's helping with this investigation. Right now it's just her and this gruff bodyguard angel that's working with her. His name is Hunt, And this is the typical gruff guy and the sassy girl, and I'll be very, very surprised if they don't end up having sex by the end of this book. They keep antagonizing each other, and it's setting up for them to, like, it's setting up for an enemies to lovers sort of trope. And honestly, like, as much as I'm interested in the mystery, it's not necessarily grabbing me, and I really want a romance to happen. I feel like that would definitely make this far more interesting to read. And that's pretty much it. I think what I'm going to do for this vlog is maybe vlog for a couple more days just to give myself extra footage for this one and kind of like chop up. I haven't decided if I want to chop up this month into 2 vlogs or 3, because obviously I'm not going to have 4 because the least amount of time I've been vlogging originally. But my goal tomorrow, since everything came for what I wanted to do to redo my bedroom, it finally arrived to my house. So I think I'm going to work on that while listening to an audiobook. Oh, I actually forgot to show you one of the things that I did one day just to keep myself occupied instead of just, zoning out into my phone. I started working on my wedding album. I like to procrastinate things when I'm particularly stressed about a chore or an errand. I like to play the avoidance tactic. I like to pretend it's not even a thing, and which makes sense now since I'm stressed about everything. I don't want to do anything. I got married September of 2018, bought the photos, had them finally printed out in June of 2019. And now I've just started finally putting them into this album here. I wish that now that I've started putting them in, I wish that I just got all bigger photos. I only got 2 like 8x10s or 8x11s or whatever size that is. And then the rest of them was like 4x5s. And I did that because it was cheaper to get the 4x5s and I was able to fit more into this. But putting them in has been quite aggravating, and I knew it was going to be. Because I'm doing it by eye, I can't necessarily like perfectly center them, which of course is bothering my perfectionism. So I'm just going to have to really lean into the fact that, hey, it's a scrapbook, it's not going to be perfect, and I need to be okay with that. As soon as I stopped caring whether or not they were perfectly centered, they actually look pretty good. I'm really pleased with how it's coming out. This is something I would also like to finish by the end of this coming week, because it'd be really nice just to finally be done with it. And I'd like it to be finished with this before my 2nd wedding anniversary. I haven't really worked on this because the idea of organizing these photos was very stressful to me. It just seemed to be a lot of it just seemed overwhelming, and it actually isn't once I finally sat down to do it. It's almost like there's a lot of things that I avoid when it seems to be, it's going to be, what's the word I'm looking for? I keep stuttering. If it's not going to be completely perfect, then I don't want to do it. Like when my in-laws moved to Florida, they gave us a wall mirror to put, so we can put it on our door or wall or whatever. And since I knew I would have to clean the mirror, and then I would have to buy stuff to mount it, and then I knew that I would have to measure it a certain way to make sure it was center in the door that I wanted it to, I never mounted it because it just seemed at first glance too hard. And of course, now that I'm home all the time, I finally did that the other day. I have that level of perfectionism that if it's not going to be perfect, then I don't want it. But I have to embrace that things aren't going to be perfect, especially in this particular climate. Nothing's going to be working the way I wanted to, and I'm going to have to be okay with that. But I think I've yapped enough for this round. Hopefully I'll check in with you guys tomorrow and not a week from now. Good morning, everybody. As I said last night, I'm redecorating my room. Not much has been done so far. This bed here, it's up against this wall now. Before it was up against that wall and it was coming into the opposite direction. And as you can see, it's not a very big room. I'm trying to rearrange things so we have more storage space. Before, all we'd have was maybe about 1.5 to 2 feet around the bed for like moving around in the room, which didn't lend to actually like proper storage space. So I bought something to possibly give us more space. And right now we actually have all this floor space, which is crazy. All this floor space. I didn't realize this room had so much floor. it looks empty right now, but we definitely have stuff to put in here, and it is going to be cramped again, but hopefully this would work more for us. So like I said, so far we've moved the bed, and I've added this carpet. Before we didn't have a carpet. And of course, moving around stuff, I broke my nail. I did my nails the other day. It was one of the things that, all right, if I need to do one thing for myself, this is what I want to do. So I gave myself a fancy manicure, and I loved how they turned out. But unfortunately, I broke this nail, and I feel like the only reason it hasn't fallen off yet is because I have a very thick layer of nail polish holding everything together. So I will not be surprised if that corner just eventually pops off later. But here's hoping it stays on a little bit longer than that. And later, after all this is done, I really want to play Animal Crossing. I don't think I've mentioned this, but my in-laws sent us Animal Crossing New Horizons this week. It arrived on Tuesday. So when I wasn't reading, well, which was a lot of the times this week, I was playing that. So I really want to play some more before the day is over. And when I check in, you might hear my husband. He's playing with a bunch of his friends online today. So if you hear that, that's what it is. Okay, everybody. So it's Monday night. I actually have to get to bed very soon because I have a very early day tomorrow. But I wanted to film this outro to kind of let you guys know how rearranging the room kind of like, I guess, wrap up on that because I didn't really read it all this week. So at this point of this readathon, I'm a quarter of the way through 2 books that I'm kind of meh on. I didn't actually listen to any more of the audiobook that I had hoped to while I was rearranging my room, because while I was listening to the audiobook, I had it so loud I didn't notice I had knocked over my drink all over the brand new carpet. Thankfully, it was a clear drink and it's fine. I mopped it up, but it was very frustrating and very aggravating, so clearly I can't multitask. The room came out great. I kind of wish I did a before pic, but or before footage, but I didn't. Basically, all I truly did was move our bed, lay down some carpet, and so we actually kind of chop up the room in a way. Right now, it's kind of like part my husband's office and part the bedroom. And so the carpet was able to like separate like the space a little bit better. And I also put in a shoe closet because I didn't realize I had so many shoes until when I started organizing before I started this project. I realized that I have shoes in like 3 different places in the room. I would prefer it all to be one spot, but when I counted my shoes, I needed to fill a whole closet by myself. So that's what I did. I got a shoe closet and all my shoes are in there now. I rearranged like a couple of the drawers a little bit, but because I deal with perfectionism, it ended up taking all day, and I still had a couple of things left to do today in regards to organizing that space, but yesterday wiped me out so much that I kept like doing a tiny bit of organizing today and then sitting on the chair in the living room for 3 hours. I was just wiped, and I was not expecting it to completely wipe me out. But it's done. So I've now sanitized the living room, reorganized and cleaned our bedroom. By the way, guys, we have baseboard heating, and there are certain parts of the room that hadn't been dusted in the 3 years we lived here. And so now my allergies are just in full force. Because of course we cleaned that up while we're moving stuff around. So living room is now sanitized and cleaned. Bedroom is now cleaned. And now we just have to clean the bathroom, which we do weekly, and reorganize the kitchen a little bit. Because it's just, we organize it, or at least I do, once every like 3-4 months. And then we both get tired and lazy and just start throwing things back in the cabinets instead of their proper place. When quarantine is over, I'll hopefully have a completely clean and organized apartment. So that's basically it. The first 2 weeks of this readathon has me just kind of lethargic and struggling with my mental health, which is to be expected since we're all being forced to stay inside because of a pandemic. And so I'm getting stir crazy and I'm stressed out about this disease. A lot's going on, and I hope to actually read more as this month progresses. I'd like to finally mellow out a little bit. So yeah, not a very exciting reading vlog. Hopefully next week's will be better. Again, I haven't decided if I want to chop up the next 2 in actual weekly vlogs or do it like this and have it like half the month. But I guess y'all will find out. So I'm going to officially stop rambling because I need to go to bed. Have an early start, like I said. Let me know down in the comments on how you are doing. I can only imagine if I'm freaking out, other people are. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I guess it's ta-ta for now. Bye, guys.